Coastal Radio DAB.
Coastal Radio DAB playing Paolo Nutini and Jenny Don't Be Hasty. It is a Friday, the 23rd of May. We're down here at Trinity Hospice, and I'm very happy to say we've got David Houston down here. I've been told that's the way to say it in Scottish, is that right?
Houston is the Scottish way of saying it.
Houston. David, it's an absolute pleasure to speak to you today. 40 years of Trinity this year. It must be, well, it's a very special landmark, isn't it?
It's extremely special, and it's even more special for us at the moment, with many hospices in the UK getting to this landmark, because we are no longer in a position to guarantee that any of us are going to be here in 40 years' time, given the funding crisis that hospices across the UK are now suffering.
Yeah, you were saying just then off air, it's very, very tough at the minute with lots of things going on. Tell us a little bit about it.
So, I mean, this year is my 15th anniversary of being the chief executive at Trinity Hospice.
Amazing.
And I honestly mean this. I haven't regretted a single day of being here. It's been an absolute joy and a pleasure to play a small part in making a massive difference for local people. We've got the most wonderful staff, superb volunteers. Everyone without exception is passionately committed to trying to ensure that everyone on the Fylde Coast gets access to good palliative and end-of-life care and has a good death, but it's getting so tough. When I joined, 40% of our costs were covered by the state. As of this year, it's down at 26%, and that is just unsustainable. Sadly, there have been some really significant things that many of your listeners will have seen on the national news, where hospices are having to close inpatient units, reduce services. This is frontline services, and we've now had to keep 4 of our 18-bedded unit beds closed, and there are 4 beds that could be used to help people die a good death rather than being stuck in hospital.
It is absolutely frightening, the figures that you talk about. Talking about figures that we were hearing earlier on the show, it's 12.5 million a year here at Trinity Hospice. More than that. How important is, because obviously a lot of people see the name Trinity all over Blackpool Wire and Fylde and raising money for Trinity. How important is the fundraising that the community do?
Oh, it's absolutely central. Without the wonderful support of thousands and thousands and thousands of local people, we would shut our doors tomorrow. It's that crucial, the fundraising. But what's absolutely amazing is that the love that is shown by local people. Yesterday I was at an event that was run, which was a golf event, and they raised £29,000. Wow. There's all sorts of different activities. I know you've been interviewing other people today. The local communities, local people are extremely generous. And again, I don't know if you've heard this one already, but last year we actually got a donation of £600,000. And it was because of one phone call. And this phone call was at an absolute critical point for someone's loved one. They were very, very worried. They were concerned about whether the loved one was going to deteriorate, whether they were going to be in pain, etc. They rang, spoke to our hospice at home team. They were able to put them at sort of reassurance. And obviously they had been supporting them through that journey as well. And that person had a really good death at home. We're not thinking about the fact that we're doing that to raise £600,000. Our staff are doing that just because they care. But this person's come back and donated £600,000 to say thank you for ensuring their loved one was well supported because of one phone call.
It is absolutely remarkable. I've got to say, I've got a personal experience with Trinity. My mum was in here and raising money in different ways, like we do the memory tree, which is a very, very simple way, but a really effective way. There are so many ways you can donate money, isn't there?
There are, and the Light Up a Life service we have around Christmas time is, yes, it is a fundraiser, and it raises a lot of money for us, but it's first and foremost to help people on their journey of grief and remembrance, because we never really get over death of a loved one. We come to terms with it. Both my parents are dead, and I've gone through that experience myself, and we're very keen to ensure that we can continue to be here to do that. The sad fact is that still far too many people across the UK and in the Fylde Coast aren't guaranteed a good death. If they're under our care, the chances are exponentially greater. But if they're bouncing in out of hospital, if they're being picked up relatively late, because the state of the NHS now is in total crisis, then your chances of achieving a really good death become somewhat limited. And I suppose one final thing I'd want to say in that regard, if you think about the whole assisted dying debate that's going on at the moment, and I'm not here to discuss the rights or wrongs of that, but every single story that you would have seen when the MPs in Parliament were talking about terrible deaths that their loved ones had suffered were all absolutely true. But actually, we know working in specialist palliative care that we can get over 98 to 99% of all pain and suffering if you get good, timely and consistent palliative care. And one of the unfortunate, unintended consequences of what is a really robust and passionate debate around assisted dying is it's leading to an image that death must be a painful and terrible experience of suffering. Yes, it can be for some, and we have to be honest about that, but where you have really specialist palliative care, allowing that to be in at the right time with the right amount of resource and support, that risk reduces massively. Whether people still want to go through that journey is another matter, but nobody should have the false choice of thinking that they have to suffer pain because there's a lack of adequate investment in specialist palliative care. And the sad fact today is it is shocking, the lack of investment. If we had the same funding approach to birth as we have to death, there would be a national outcry. And yet, because people are generally uncomfortable with death, they're fearful to talk about it, they don't then prep for it quite as well, even though we're here to support. It's not a particularly sexy subject. It's sort of pushed under under the carpet. So, you know, we really need our local communities and the public as a whole across the UK to stand up now and say, we want a good death. We want that support, and politicians of whatever colour start listening, because it's not fair to carry on funding hospices and palliative care in such an unsustainable way.
There you go. You've heard it from the man himself. David, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on 40 years here at Trinity. Congratulations on you having 15 years. And you said then there has not been a day that goes by where you are not passionate about this place. And I tell you what, it oozes out of you. It really does. David, thank you very much indeed.
And thank you so much for everybody listening and all our supporters to Foul Coast that keep our doors open.